regal, and the marriage ceremony should be held in the community, inside the community, like the religious communities whole, or those building in the religious communities. So I like to explain our argument. So I have 2 points. Firstly, so why states have justification to impose value on religious communities? So I have 2 reasons on this point. Firstly, the religious community is one part of the society, and so the society should have obligation to follow state's opinion. That's because if each society goes by their will and by their only act by what they want, if the country or the states will separately, and the country will never work, and the citizens will the country will be collapsed. So the society should have obligation to follow state's opinion, and the state's the legitimacy. So please remind of this minute. For example, the honor killing is for some religion communities, it is a very important thing, and the very essential thing thing for some communities. However, it's really illegal, and those those cases that this case that we should oppose those kind of illegal thing, and the community should follow their state's action and the order. And secondly, the reason on this point is the religious community have actually the religious community is very super powerful, because that community use their power, tell their idea, tell the reader's idea, and using their idea to lead the people. So the religious community has actually very strong power, and it is true. So the communities can grasp the people's mind. So the community should have responsibility to tell the member in the good thing in the society. So in the morality. So that's why we can say this is nation's opinion is simply because of the context. Under this situation, the gay marriage is legal. So the religious community is also the states have the obligation to guarantee the gay marriage. So the religious community have the obligation, and also the states have justification to impose that. And secondly, I would like to mention the second point. So how marriage ceremonies are held by religious communities how marriage ceremonies which are held by religious communities can lead accomplishment of state's decision which accept the gay couples. So under the status quo, even though it's illegal, some gay couples feel like they feel difficulty integrating and accepting into the community, because that's because the religious community have the strong power to society, and that religious community has historically opposed the gay marriage. That's why they feel like the very narrow feeling, and they don't they are very doubtful to their existence, or they just want to they really want to the integration but they have some extent very few difficulties into the community. And secondly, under the status quo of the power structure, if as I said, the first point, the leader of the community, religious community, have strong power, and they actually have the power to impose their value on those member of the community. So that if the leader say no, that everybody follow follow him or her. So that's clearly true. So that but after the plan, the leader can show that the gay marriage is legal also in the community, religious community, so that member can actually accept the gay marriage, and gay marriage also feel like they are very that they can remove their fearness or the anxious from their mind, and they actually can integrate it and accept it by the community. So like for example, that one gay marriage, like they got robbed, they fell in love within each other in the same religious community. It's absolutely legitimate, but the others say like but the other member says, oh, you're like not so funny or something, like you're so that's why simply we have to include the recognition also in the religion community. So we are very proud to propose this one. Thank you.
Thank you for Mark. Next leader of the opposition here. Speaker, there's a trend that gay marriage is more and more accepted. But this motion of making most religious people, most religious community, who already have somewhat hostile feeling against gay marriage is rather counterproductive by taking this motion. So in order to spread the trend and in order to more create a society where it's acceptable to gay marriage, this motion should not be taken. That is why I'm very happy to oppose this motion. Before moving on to my argument, I have two refutations to the previous speaker. So she first said that why the state have the justification over like the citizen by giving the like weird example of like honor killing. It is completely different from this context. That's because like the gay marriage is like the change of the gay marriage is taking place right now. However, the thing about the honor killing is is a past event, that it is already accepted by the society that it is not a good thing. So it is a completely different thing for the state to accept gay marriage in the honor killing. So that is the first refutation to the government side. And secondly, so her second argument was that the leader have a strong power, so it is especially important for the leader to say like they are accepting the gay marriage. However, because they said that if the leader said so, the community member are going to follow that. However, there was no really a good mechanism why the member is blindly follow those kind of leader who the religious community leaders. So I would like to hear that from the government side. But rather, what is going to happen is that those kind of followers of the religious community or religion would rather feel that the leader do not agree with their idea, the core idea of what the love should be. The member would feel that the leader is going to they feel like the leader is just being a muppet of the state that's following whatever the state said. So what actually happens is that the member will feel the trust in the community and feel the trust to the leader. And those kind of members are more likely to leave that kind of religious community or change to the other religious community. So what they're saying is not really actually going to happen. No, thank you. So now I have two things to talk about. Firstly, how it's counterproductive to accelerate a society, to promote a society where it is friendly to the gay marriage. And secondly, I want to talk about why is it unjustifiable for the religious community, like for the state to do those kind of things to the religious community. So I'll explain one by one, but I'm actually going to talk about the unjustifiable thing first. So firstly, so there are three reasons. Firstly, it is against their belief it is against their belief in the fundamental core. That's those kind of religious community are being forced to do something they do not want to do. It is so state have no right to do so. Like for example, the case of conscientious obedience, like in the conscription, even though the government have government can lay out the law of conscription and call all their soldiers, all their citizens in order to come to the conscription. However, people who do not believe in the war and people who have in belief in the war, they do not actually have to go to the conscription because they don't feel like because it is not their core fundamental way of thinking. That state. So even when state have the even though state when in times of war, for example, state need the soldier, and when state do the conscription in order to gather the soldier, state also have the option for the citizen to opt out of the system. So it can be it should be applied to this context as well, because when religious community it is not justifiable for the states to require every single religious community in the country to do the whole marriage ceremony for gay people. And this is because state protect the right. State should not only protect the right of the gay marriage people, but also the other citizens as well. So that is why it is important. And secondly, it is very sad and bad situation for the priests, because those kind of priests are doing something they do not believe fundamentally. That's those kind of priests, especially for example, they have been living 40 years also, that believing that love should be something between male and female. However, just because suddenly the state changes the law that marriages should be not only just between men and women, but also between men and men, those kind of priests have to, even though they do not believe in that, and even though they have been believing for at least 40 years or so in the past that marriage should be something between men and women, they have to adjust, they have to forcibly change their way of thinking. And it is very fundamentally unjustifiable for the state to do that kind of thing to the priest. Closing. Sato-so.
In case of conscription, in order to achieve the protection of the nation, the people who deny the conscription pay a lot of money for the military. In case of that situation, the aim is that
that is factually wrong. In case of conscientious obedience, you can pay the tax, but also you can do the community service instead of going to the conscription. So it is not really the case right now. No, thank you. So moving on to my second argument, how it's actually counterproductive in creating a trend. So because what is happening now, what will happen after taking this motion is that those communities who have the religious community would feel that they have to do something they don't want to do. So what they actually feel is that they feel like gay marriage, the gay marriage rights, the rights for the gay people is prioritized over their own beliefs. So what actually feel that they feel like the right between their religious community and the gay marriage, there is a power imbalance between those kind of rights. So what actually happens happen is that they will start to have the hostile feeling against those kind of gay marriage, because they feel that gay marriage, the right of those kind of people are like prioritized by the government, by the state itself. So what actually happened is that those kind of people from religious community would like lose the interest to care about gay marriage people, or like lose the understanding toward the gay marriage people. So that is why it is rather counterproductive to take this motion. So what I have told you, firstly, how it's unjustifiable for the state to do so, and secondly, how it's actually counterproductive to accelerate the understanding toward the gay marriage. That is why I'm going to have to vote this motion. Thank you.
してない。確かに大間もしてない。
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will talk about three things. Firstly, the justification as a state to impose a certain value to the religious communities. And secondly, how we can achieve the actual changing for gay couple. And thirdly, the comparison between religious idea, religious identity, and the gay people's fundamental rights. So let me, all of that will be integrated in my speech. As my partner told you, we have the justification in three reasons. Firstly, because of course the community, the religious community, of course one was a member of the society, and as long as they live in the society, so they have the obligation to obey the social idea, the idea which is recognized by the entire society. And secondly, they have the moral responsibility as a superpower within the society, because they by using the power and using the religious power, they can tell their own idea, and they can have the job to tell that idea, and something that in this occasion such kind of so influential such kind of actor should have in return for such kind of right, they have the duty to obey such kind of to spread the norm which is accepted by the society. And thirdly, they have of course also the moral responsibility to compensate the historical oppression for the such kind of gay couple, because they historically they declare that the gay couple is totally illegal, it's not the human, and something like that. In this occasion, they have the responsibility to act to spread the norm. And why we can impose, why we can say it is the state idea, because in that context, within the process of the legal process, the judges who are elected by the entire citizens, judges that make the decision, make a conclusion that the gay gay marriage is a legitimate choice for all individuals, and to allow such kind of the gay marriage is totally illegal. So in this occasion, that is the state idea. So in this occasion, we have the justification to impose that idea. For example, they say that yes.
Okay, society also agrees that religious values are important. You wouldn't force Muslim mosques to celebrate Christian couples.
Yeah, but that idea is, if that idea is against such kind of social idea, then we can restrict, we can intervene such kind of religious idea, because religious should be the changeable in order to fit the social idea. So as I said before in the reason. So for example, they said that the conscription case, because the conscription causes harm to the fundamental choice, people's fundamental choice, and something like that. Because it is not important, because we are happy to legalize the conscription as long as the decision was made that all social members as a national opinion. So that's why the tipping point is that kind of that decision, whether or not that decision are made by the society or not, in this occasion, the social opinion should be prioritized crucially in the context. And secondly, let me move on to second argument, changing the for gay people. Firstly, the uniqueness of the historical oppression. So as I said before, the religious community, is the actor to historically oppress the gay ceremonies. In this occasion, the majority of citizens who are actually opposing the gay people can excuse and can be the reason to oppose the gay people, because the religious community actually declare that the gay marriage is not the human one, and something like that. In this occasion, to change for the religious community to change the such kind of opinion is totally influential to the society. And secondly, there is a power structure within the religious community. That if the leader obeys the state idea, the leader. The member of the religious committee have the incentive to listen to the leader's stance, because the leader is a deliverer to tell the God's message. In this occasion, of course, the member have the incentive to obey such kind of leader. So by the marriage ceremony is totally essential, because the marriage ceremony is a symbol of the social recognition. They are couple which is recognized by the society and by the entire society. So that's why they can have the confidence about their connection between your partner. So in this occasion, it is totally connected their mental. Their humanity and fundamental core identity. So as I said before, in our model, within the community and within the community, actually the leader of that religious community declare that do you love the partner, and within they do actually share the time within such kind of sacred time. So in this occasion, it is the evidence of the harmony between the religious idea and the gay people's idea. In this occasion, it is totally necessary for gay people. Let me move on to the third argument. Why a comparison between religious identity and the fundamental right for gay couples? Because as I said before in my first argument, the religious idea is totally historically changeable thing. Right, Madam Speaker, and all religion have the history to change their idea to fit the accepted norm by the society. In this occasion, in the long term, such kind of the identity crisis can be the mitigatable harm, but as I said before, the leaders have the structural problem to deny the such kind of gay couple. So that's why we are very proud to propose. Thank you for that. Next, the leader's opposition.
スペシフィカリーアナライズウェディングってまあ別に他のこと言ってもいいけど、それを言って、一つ目にそのライトとしてなんでウェディングがスペシフィカリ重要なのかっていうのを説明準備したやつ。で、二つ目になんでウェディングがソーシャルインフルエンスとして重要なのかっていう話でいけると思う。頭任せて。リゲートとかは俺が後ろでやるから、あんまりまあ思いついたら1分ぐらいまでなる。そこで時間使わない。1分ぐらいまで何の言わなくてもいい。感じのスピーチは聞かなくてもいいだから。俺聞いとくか。
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to do two things in my speech. Firstly, like why does state imposing those kind of religious community to hold marriage ceremony is quite unjust for those kind of religious community and also for the member of religious community, and why especially in today's case, like those kind of community don't need to follow the idea of majority, follow the idea of state. And secondly, I'm going to tell you, for those kind of minority people such as gay couple, our paradigm is much better. Before that, I have two rebuttal to the opening garment. The opening garment say, like individual can have the confidence by those kind of marriage ceremony. However, we think that even in our paradigm, those kind of people can do like those kind of marriage ceremony out of the community. Also, they can do like those kind of, they can show those kind of evidence towards the society, and also like legally they can do those kind of gay marriage. That is a we think that their benefit is not so like mutually exclusive. More than secondly, they argue, for example, by the showing those kind of ceremony, they can have the confidence. However, we think that, for example, if the community actively hold those kind of ceremony, it can be the evidence of harmony between the community and the gay couple. However, in today's case, it's only like forcement by the state. Still those kind of community don't want to do those kind of activity. At the end of the day, like individuals still cannot have the gay couple still cannot have the confidence because still those kind of religious community don't allow those kind of existence of gay marriage and gay couple inside those kind of society. That is why we think the only forcement cannot be the change, cannot change those kind of circumstance. That is why we think that the argument does not stand. Next, I explain our point firstly, why the imposing burden is unjust before that, Tagai-san.
Okay, do you allow racist restaurant owners to reject the African American from entering restaurant just because there's other restaurant who welcome the African American?
Okay, from now I draw a line between those kind of things, and today's things. We think that like if we impose those kind of religious community to hold marriage ceremony, like for example, priest or like some member of religious community have to hold gay marriage ceremony inside the community. That is why, as a consequence of that, they have to claim what they don't believe in ceremony. That in church, they have to say what they don't believe. They have to swear, even though they don't believe it in front of God. It's quite harmful for those kind of individuals because they can't have a confidence towards those kind of God if they tell a lie towards God in the church. That's quite harmful towards the individual because if they like to follow the God, if they show the loyalty towards God, they feel that God can protect me. However, they lie towards, they say what they don't believe towards the God. They tell a lie towards the God. That's quite much burden on the individual. The states cannot impose like those kind of burden on the individual. For example, please imagine the case of like, for example, abortion. Even though like there is a context, abortion is legal. Like we don't force Catholic doctor to take abortion therapy towards the individual. Reason is quite simple. Those kind of individuals who want to take abortion therapy, they can go to other like hospital. They can do like abortion within the country outside of those kind of community. That is why we don't force those kind of Catholic doctor to take abortion therapy. Why? The reason is quite simple. Because taking the abortion therapy is quite against their own like dogma, their own like identity. That is why in the status quo we don't impose that kind of activity. It's quite different from like honor killing because in the case of honor killing, there is no alternative way. If we kill those kind of the woman, in that kind of circumstance we cannot protect it. However, in the case of like abortion, like still those kind of individuals who want to do abortion, they can do abortion out of community. That is why like we can achieve both goal. Like we can avoid the harm of Catholic doctor, and also we can avoid like harm of individual who want to do who want to do abortion. That's a quite same case. Even in today's case, still like gay couple can do like those kind of marriage ceremony out of community, and still they can get marriage even in our paradigm. That is why we can achieve those kind of things without taking this policy, and also only in our paradigm we can protect those kind of priests who don't want to do those kind of activity, who don't want to tell a lie to other God. That is why we think that we draw a clear line between those kind of okay things and not good things in the case of honor killing. However, it's quite difficult to draw a line in the case of Tagai-san's.
高井さんざまあまあまあ
まあ、レイシャルディスクリミネーション is quite different from religious values. Okay. Next, I explain. Next, however, we win towards OZ. And secondly, why the gay people, why our paradigm is much better? Because in their paradigm, it's quite harmful for the individual or inside of those kind of religious community. In that kind of circumstance, religious community have to take more radical stance, more conservative stance towards those kind of gay people. However, in our paradigm, like it's not so harmful for those kind of religious community, because religious community don't need to hold those kind of marriage ceremony inside the community. In that kind of circumstance, even though if we do like if we make gay marriage legal, it's not so harmful towards those kind of religious community. In that kind of circumstance, those kind of religious community can be more tolerant towards those kind of these problems, towards those kind of gay couple and gay people and LGBT people. However, we think that in their paradigm, it's fundamentally harmful towards those kind of priests, because the priests have to like completely against their own identity. That is why we think that only in their paradigm, like those kind of religious community take more radical stance towards those kind of gay people. At the end of the day, for example, also they still continue to oppose those kind of gay marriage itself. They still continue to oppose to the existence of those kind of gay people and gay couple. That is why we think that still, for those kind of gay people, rather our paradigm is much better. Thank you.
Here you go. Thank you, the speaker. Today's opening slide mainly talk about the rights of gay couples, but we believe that is not core issue in this debate. So this debate should be about the necessity of marriage ceremonies for gay couples. So I'd like to construct my arguments following the unique necessity of marriage ceremonies for gay couples. So I have two arguments. First, what is wedding and what kind of how important the marriage ceremony for gay couples? And second, how can marriage ceremony and change our social impression towards gay couples? One by one. So wedding is very important things for not only gay couples but all the people. So that's because it is a turning point for the couples. So if you want to hold a wedding ceremony, a lot of people will come to see it, like parents or friends. So, and when you participate our wedding ceremony, the husband or wife have to follow a very traditional rule, like exchange rings or cherishing love in front of Christian. So when the people such kind of ceremony, they will when the ceremony and when people watch marriage, when people see their gay couple following such kind of rule, and
such kind of ceremony, they will may have a sense of closeness towards gay couples. So this is promotes our people's acceptance or something like that. Will promote people acceptance, something like that, towards gay couple. So wedding ceremony is very important for the gay couples. And second, how can wedding marriage ceremony can change our social norm of our gay couples? So we believe legalization doesn't equal to public acceptance. For example, more than 100 years ago, Lincoln advocates the statement of liberalization of black people, and in their law, after this legalization, our black people are became free from the slave and in the paper. But however, the discrimination towards black people still has been continuing, and it still remains today in the modern world, like violence where black people were killed by police or something like that. So as like this, even if a state legalize and accept the gay marriage, it doesn't mean the people. It doesn't mean people living in the country will suddenly accept the gay marriage right or gay marriage right. So since the state's main goal is not the legalization, but it is to achieve and gain acceptance from all the people, all the citizens. So since this but under status quo, legalization is not enough for the gay couples. So under status quo, gay couples are not allowed, can't hold a marriage ceremony in their religious community. So by doing that, they will feel a sense of exclusion or discrimination. So they are not accepted or accepted in that by that religious community. So they may think they are discriminated, excluded from the community. So why the discrimination is bad or why the exclusion is bad, and all this reason has already explained from the opening side, so I don't mention about it. So as I said, the goal the state has to achieve is the acceptance from all the citizens. So in order to achieve this goal, wedding plays a very important role, because wedding became a symbolic victory of the right of gay couples. So after taking this plan, all the gay couples can hold a marriage ceremony in religious community. So they may think they are treated equally and as other normal couples. So they may have a confidence or proud as our gay couples. So it is very good for them. So that is the goal we have to achieve. So for this reason, we are proud to propose this motion.
Okay, I'd like to call upon member of opposition to show your case.
裏空いてる。ここで。下に。時間計っといて。
悪いことしたみたいな。
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Basically, what we heard from the government bench was that people agreed that marriage is important, even for gay people. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to provide from closing our position an analysis to tell you what people actually agreed on. people didn't necessarily agree on giving rights to marriage no matter what. People still respect and people agreed to allow marriage in balance of religious rights, and that is what we have agreed on. Basically, we're going to tell you from opening and closing opposition a justification to protect people's religious rights, and that is very important in this debate. I'm going to basically, I'm going to first read my extensions first, and then I'm going to move on to rebut what we heard from the government bench. So what did people agree on? Ladies and gentlemen, what we say from closing opposition is that people didn't agree to make people do things against their wills. They didn't agree to force priests, conservative priests, to celebrate individuals against their religious views. What people did agree on, ladies and gentlemen, was to allow gay people the opportunity to marry, ladies and gentlemen. And that is very important to recognize in this debate. Because we recognize that people still didn't dismantle religion when it came to gay marriage, ladies and gentlemen. Even though people knew that it is the religious institution that has been traditionally opposing gay marriage, people still thought that religion is important and therefore religion should still exist. People have agreed that religious values is very important for some people who believe that religion is important for these individuals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we think this religious right is very important to accept in this debate. Now, opening opposition provided us a reason which was that the priests themselves psychologically would be harmed. But ladies and gentlemen, we would probably argue that it is important to respect this religious right because people still agree that religious right is important, and people haven't democratically agreed to dismantle it, and that is the distinction here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we notice in this kind of situation is that already what the society agrees on is achieved in the status quo. People can marry if they want. We do live in an era where religions are changing, like the opening government has analyzed. And what that means is that pretty much in every community, everywhere around, for example, the United States, where gay marriage is allowed, there are churches, Christian churches, which allow individuals to marry if they want. So we think there are opportunities promised by the state. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily extend to forcing individuals to do something against their wills. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing we would provide is that we think that churches are very important because we respect churches' rights to exclusivity. Ladies and gentlemen, I pointed out in a point of information that you wouldn't allow, for example, a Muslim mosque to be forced to give a celebration to a Christian couple that has been married. Because fundamentally, religions are exclusive actors in society. Because religions are, what we are talking about is religion. Religion is an organization where people of similar thoughts gather around and assures that what they are believing is important. And that's why we think, and that is very important to recognize. So basically, at the point the society has agreed that religious institutions can exist within our society, we agree on the exclusivity of religion in this debate, in these societies. Now, having said that, why do we think it is very, having said that, why do we think this is still very important over the analysis of closing government? Because essentially what closing government said is that people should be able to marry in whatever way they want. Firstly, I doubt that it is a fundamental right the government should provide in every situation. Because we tell you that even if people wanted to marry in a certain way, people don't always get the right to marry in certain ways. Often it comes in terms of money. People may not be rich enough to be married in the church, which is very, very expensive to marry in. People may not necessarily have the access to that kind of churches. So we don't really think that is a fundamental right where everybody should be protected from having. Another example would be Muslim mosques again. People wouldn't be able to marry in a Muslim mosque if they are Christian, ladies and gentlemen, because we fundamentally respect that right of these Muslim beliefs not to celebrate people who are from other religions, ladies and gentlemen. So we think it is important to recognize a balance between the gay rights and the religious rights. And at the point, we have agreed that they are both important in our society. People have voted for both sides, ladies and gentlemen. We think it is important to say that people, real conservative people who want to be exclusive on their religion can have that right. What did we hear from opening arguments? Essentially, what we heard was that historical oppression, ladies and gentlemen, historical oppression justifies enforcement. But this is not true, and it is in fact contradictory to what the opening government has been saying. Because basically they have told us that churches must follow social values. Social values of the past was to oppress gay people. Why do they need to compensate for that? Well, we think that is a logic falls in the first place. Secondly, what we heard from Tagai-san was that racist restaurants has no right to refuse, ladies and gentlemen, black people from entry. We say that the level of social acceptance is different. Pretty much everybody within America has agreed that respecting gay people's rights in every situation is very important. But this is different because we told you that in religion, people still respect religious rights to some extent. So we don't really think that that example they wrote in the point of information is analogous in this debate. Lastly, what we heard. Lastly, what we heard from the second, what we heard in the second argument, which was that law is able to shape people's minds, and it is important. They gave us an example of Lincoln liberalizing the blacks in America. We think this is also disanalogous in this debate because the example of Lincoln was an example to show how law changed. In cases of gay marriages are being accepted in society because society changed first and law followed. So we don't really think you can use this Lincoln analysis to support that analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, we tell you, what we have told you from closing opposition was the fact that people are already liberal, but they made a judgment to respect gay rights and religious rights at the same time. And that's why we support for a balance. Thank you very much.
今、Next, I'd like to call upon Dan to summarize the debate. 10 minutes begin.
Three things in summary. Firstly, the right comparison between religious organization, religious community, and the gay couples. And secondly, I'm going to talk about in terms of analysis of ceremony, why specifically the ceremony is important, why the closing of government contribution is so important in this debate. And thirdly, I'm going to talk about social influence of this kind of holding the ceremony, particularly in this kind of relatively conservative religious community. So firstly, all rebuttal will be integrated. So firstly, in terms of comparison between religious community and gay couples. Let's deal with lots of analogy coming from this debate, but obviously the best analogy from us is our side of the house, the racist analogy, because we think this analogy captures these kind of other places, even though there's alternative to go to another kind of restaurant, still they have the right to go to the racist restaurant in the first places. Because we think that my partner already mentioned that this kind of achievement on the document level and practical level is so far in the first places. Because in the United States of America, the Lincoln declared this kind of liberation of slave and African American. Still, this kind of lots of the discrimination exists, and actually, practically, the African American have to the right on the separated bus from the white person. We think this kind of practical discrimination and practical differentiation actually exists in the society. That's why I say after this kind of on the document level that justification, we need to practically equalize these kind of people in the first places. That's why I say that just because people can marry in another places does not necessarily mean that we think that this can justify this kind of discrimination in terms of religious community. The analogy coming from opening opposition is conscription. We think conscription is simply the rare case in the Western liberal democracy. We don't really understand this is how analogous in the first places. But comparatively better analogy coming from Nakanishi's abortion doctors. Abortion doctor is comparatively better, but still. Still, this is in the firstly, we say we are more than happy to impose abortion, Christian doctors to impose abortion, but in the technical level, still this is even about in many cases, the Christian doctors are not have in many cases, do not have the technique to take the abortion surgery. That's why we say that practically it is impossible. This is main reason why the abortion doctor are more likely avoided in the abortion surgery. That's why this is different. And closing opposition in terms of Christian couple or in the mosque, we think that we don't really understand what is the motivation of the Christian couple to marry have the ceremony in the Muslim mosque. If they want to change their own religion in terms of ceremony, if in these cases we are more than happy to do so. But in many cases, realistic cases, the Christians do not have the motivation to take the ceremony in the mosque because they want to take the ceremony in the church. We think this is unrealistic. That's why the most realistic and the best analogy is racist restaurants. So moving on to the analysis of the ceremony before that, Sakurai-san.
Okay, some Protestant couples may wish to be married in a Catholic church because they think they can have a motivation of being the bridge between the two divisions. But the Catholic Church isn't required to separate them.
If so, that kind of the motivation in terms of their own. No. This is mainly by the political view in terms of their own actualizing that such an integration, which is different from the fundamental view of having the marriage, because they are all admire to have the marriage as same as the different different gender couples. We think this is totally different. So let's talk about analysis of the ceremony. We think that we only closing comment mentioned that core meaning of the ceremony. We think this is turning point. Like for example, age of majority. We think this kind of ceremony change our mindset, change our identity. We think because this kind of ceremony, wedding ceremony, is also the changing having the family or that kind of appreciation to the friends or the parents. We think this is fundamentally important meaning for the individual. And we think that even in the current situation, the gay couple, even in the current situation, gay couple admire these kind of another different gender couples to have this kind of appreciation or turning point. But we think currently that these kind of couple cannot take this situation in the first places. We think this is massively damaging the right of the individual in the first places for two contexts. Firstly, we think in terms of predominant society, in terms of these kind of predominant community, which the Catholic is predominant community, we think this is extremely difficult to find out that this kind of marriage institution to have the holding ceremony if we do not take this proposal in the first places. And secondly, we think if in the context of this kind of individual believer of this kind of Catholic community and other friends or this kind of parents are believer of this kind of community, that these kind of people would require these kind of individual or these kind of gay couples to hold in the Catholic churches. We think this kind of requirement cannot be taken for this kind of hold by in the status quo. No, Nakanishi. That's why this is fundamentally important to have there are lots every places to have the ceremony in the first places. That's why this is fundamentally important. So let's talk about social acceptance will be accelerated because in their paradigm only that kind of gay marriage is celebrated in the like for example Tokyo Disneyland or another kind of religious institution which are already tolerant to the gay LGBT marriage. We think in this particular context that social acceptance are highly less likely to happen because there's hyper to have a marriage take the wedding to the LGBT couples. We think in this situation that this kind of wedding who are gathering lots of people, even including the neutral position in terms of gay marriage, or that kind of comparatively conservative position to the gay marriage, they realize and they see the couples are having the happy relationships between the same gender couples. Still, this is equally celebrated and become happy by doing the ceremony. We think this is a realization of attendance in terms of gay weddings are also important in terms of gradual change of society. That's why I say as long as these kind of limited places can hold this gay weddings, we think this is particularly slower paces to the true liberalization or equal practical liberalization of the same gender marriage. That's why I say this is fundamentally important to increase the number of the places or the wedding and allow the individual to hold in the religious churches to the wedding. We think that's why we are very proud to oppose.
Thanks very much. Finally, I'd like to call upon position week to conclude this debate within 7 minutes. Julia.
ほんまや。中西向いてたわ。中西向いてた。
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Like today's opening statement was to what extent like the religious autonomy or those kind of things or intervention should be allowed or not. So what the closing opposition told you is that even what the closing opposition told you is like what the legalized itself are meaning. Like legalized itself are meaning like we can allow as a society we are allowing the gay marriage or itself, but it doesn't mean like those kind of like religious communities should forcibly hold marriage ceremony also. So that is a clear contribution of outside our house. And also we told you like what is the context, what fundamental context of today's debate. Like even in the government side, but still like religion itself is really important. It's really important. Like, exclusively giving the stability towards the people or so forth. So that is the clear context. And we have to balance out that like religion's importance and also the gay marriage itself. So that is the clear stance of outside our house. Then like three things to talk about. Firstly, to what extent like the religious autonomy should be protected, or whether intervention what the government side said are justified or not. And secondly, about the practical consequences, whether or not that the harmony or those harm for the gay marriage people are existing or the source in their current or not. And thirdly, comparison which is important between the religion or the identity or the rights of those people. Then one by one. Firstly, about the justification. But firstly, to the opening of government, mainly 4 points simply. Like firstly, the part of the society, so that's why they have to support that. Even the religion is a part of the society, so that's why they have to follow or so forth. But still, like even though that is the part of the society, but still like society are admiring the importance of the religion and the exclusive benefit of the religion. So that's why that reason itself cannot force those religious community to have this religious ceremony itself. And second responses, like even though like a part of the society, but still there are other exceptions. For example, like the education or the taxes, still those are duty of the like citizens. But still, because of that exclusive benefit, those are excluded from the religious community. So that's why, like even though it is a part of the society, but still there are no justification to be forced to have the religious ceremony itself. The second reason, like they have to say that good thing or the moral to moral or so forth. So that's why like they have to have the religious ceremony in the community or so forth. But still, firstly, there is no reason why that kind of good thing, why that religion should tell the good thing, even though it is opposed to the like doctrine or the belief of that religion itself. And secondly, what the community should prioritize is not the socially good thing, but rather what the believers or what religion or the belief are seeing it is important. So because like why the religion exists is because like to tell that kind of thing to those important beliefs and then like give the benefit or mental benefit towards the believers. So that's why that is the most should be prioritized. And thirdly, because the priest or the leader is really powerful, so believers have to obey or so forth. But we can see why in their paradigm, like if those are obeying, forcing, then why they have to have the religious marriage ceremony? And also, like as a consensus of today's debate, because society are regarding marriage itself is a good thing, okay thing. So that's why, like, if those believers think like that kind of belief or that kind of teaching itself, like gay marriage is good bad thing also, and they are, if believers are opposing, then they have a way to escape from that community itself. So that's why, even though the leaders' power is strong, but still there is another way for the believers to escape from that situation. So that's why there are no reason to force it. So that's why, like, those justification, what the opening government told you, it doesn't stand. So that's why there are no justification to force the community also. To compare to that, like, what our side told you is because the society are admiring that religion itself is really important thing. So that's and also because society is seeing gay marriage is also important for the society. So that's why we are balancing. Like, even outside of the community, like, those people have opportunity to have the wedding ceremony or so forth. So that's why that is better. And secondly, about the practical benefit or harm. Today's like opening government told you, like, integration or acceptance or feeling of acceptance is really important. But we cannot see how that will happen actually. Like, even in that kind of ceremony happens, but still people who are attending to that ceremony are manipulating their feeling or manipulating their celebration towards those people who are marrying. Like, they don't celebrate them from bottom of the heart. So those harmony or the acceptance happen in the first place? Compared to that, what the benefit of outside of the house is because, like, at least if they have a ceremony in other ways, other places outside of the community, then, like, people who are attending are really people who are really celebrating that kind of marriage itself. For example, like the parents or the friends who are not so strict or who are not so opposing the gay marriage itself are come and they can celebrate. And as a result of that, they can have they can get or feel social recognition from the society. What the government side said it is really important. So that's why, in terms of the self-recognition or social recognition and so forth, our side is still better. And also, like, closing of government told you, gradual change is happening. So that's why or happening also. But we cannot see why it is really important. Also, in our paradigm, there are places where the people, gay people, can have the wedding ceremony. And also, we are admiring, like, religion itself is really important. And also, we know that that kind of, like, traditional rules or exchanging the rings or so forth is really important. We understand it, but we can do it in the other way. So that's why there is no exclusive benefit of their side of the house. Then thirdly, comparison. Like, their side told you, in terms of exclusivity, in the long term, religion can change. So that's why they have to prioritize the gay marriage or so forth. But three responses. Firstly, even in the short term, there are people who are suffering in the short term. So that's why there are no reason to neglect those, like, short-term suffering people. And secondly, because that kind of gay itself is really core of the identity, so that's why it's really difficult to change. And thirdly, if the society or the community itself also thinks gay marriage is really important thing, then they can do that if they are accepting. So that's why there are no reason to force towards those community to have the wedding ceremony now in the status quo. For those reasons, we are proud to oppose.
Thank you for your speech is over.